we meet to discuss another topic. Unfortunately, you see, we are impacted so much by the actions of the government that we have to discuss these things. It is very important to discuss these things so that you understand the economics and the impact of these things that is happening. We are discussing demonetization today. So recently, everyone is aware that the 2000 rupee note has been demonetized and whatever else and what have you. And if you look at the RBI circular and even the news reports with regard to the RBI circular, this 2000 rupee note has been demonetized. And if you look at the loads, you will see that RBI has announced that it is approximately 10% of the current day currency on notes in circulation. It's 10%. And if 10% is sitting at 3.62 lakh crores, then 100% is over approximately 36 lakh crores. So out of 36 lakh crore rupees worth of currency or 37 lakh crore rupees worth of currency, 3.6 lakh crore rupees worth of currency in 2000 rupees is going to be withdrawn. So do you remember that once upon a time we had something called a demonetization where all the currency was withdrawn, where the government decided to show its power in such a way that it puts its hand into the pocket of every Indian, including you and me and everybody else. It put its hand into the pocket of all of us, and it showed us that we have so much power that we can make all the money that you are holding inside your pocket worthless. That is exactly what they achieved by doing that. There is no other achievement that they have made by doing that, and it has been evidenced throughout since 2016 because GDP rates, as per a lot of economists, and a lot of economists told them to not do this thing, do not do this. This is done by tin pot left wing dictatorships in the world who do not know what else to do, and they think that you see, by doing these things, they will succeed in unearthing some sort of black money and whatnot. So, are you aware of what the total amount of currency was in circulation at that time in 2016? I'll help you. It wasn't more than 18 lakh crores. So, it was less than half of the total amount of currency that is in circulation today. And if you look at the wiki page on that, it will show you that at that time 15.3 lakh crore odd got redeposited into banks, which was almost approximately 99% of the currency came back into banks. Of course, a couple of lakh crores was odd, was held by banks, and then maybe a lakh crores odd had to be found. But you see, over 1.5 million jobs were lost. That's approximately 1.45. I don't know. You can look at it as, if you're looking at it as a 10 crore employment market, you're looking at 1.5 million jobs being lost, which is approximately more than maybe close to 15% of the employment market being hit in a manner of speaking, directly or indirectly. And this exercise destroyed the economy. We went down by about 3% in terms of our GDP. So when you are actually growing at a GDP growth rate of something like maybe 6 or 7%, that was equivalent to almost half of your growth rate got cut off. The only good thing that came of it, I do not know if it is good or bad, was that we succeeded in creating a deflationary market because there was no money to spend in the hands of people, so people stopped spending. And then the other thing that took off is people took off with regard to using digital cash. Yeah, digital money, the Paytms and the Phone Pays and the whatever Google Pays of the systems of the world, they kind of took. That sort of made a difference. But you see, many times what government of India especially does is that it uses an axe to kill a fly. Hmm. Now, for instance, let me explain. Next door, we have a country called Pakistan, which has failed. It has failed so badly that that country has an economy of barely 350 billion US dollars, and India's economy is 3.5 trillion dollars. So we are approximately 10 times the size of Pakistan's economy. Yeah. And if you look at the amount of notes that we are demonetizing, we are demonetizing close to about $50 billion worth of notes. Yeah, 3.76 lakh crore, approximately $15 billion to every 100 lakh crore. So 40 to $50 billion worth of notes is what we are demonetizing. That is like 20% of the size of Pakistan's economy. But because Pakistan is in a currency crisis and nobody trusts the Pakistani rupee anymore, You know why nobody trusts the Pakistani rupee anymore? Because the inflation rates in Pakistan are close to 40%, anywhere between 35 to 40%. That is the rate at which prices are changing every year. The general price level in Pakistan is increasing by that much. That means your rupee that you are spending today will be approximately half of its value next year. So if you have 100 rupees today, it will be worth 50 rupees next year. That is the rate at which there is inflation in Pakistan. So that is the reason why nobody wants to invest their savings or hold on to the Pakistani rupee. But because they don't want to hold on to the Pakistani rupee, they are investing in any other currency. They are investing in dollars, they are investing in whichever currency is available for trade in Pakistan. That is the situation. And similarly, a lot of people in Pakistan are also moving abroad. So if they are able to invest themselves in 2000 rupee notes or something like that, or 500 euro notes or whatever, they are doing their best to do those kind of things. But why should we be bothered about a $350 billion economy? Why do we even care? Why are we even concerned? But over here, there is this great degree of, I don't know, what is it called, a threat perception, if you like, or some sort of a paranoia about whatever your neighbors are doing, if you like, that makes us do these stupid knee-jerk things. This is one of the moves which has taken place, I think, which is a derivative of that. The other move that has taken place is this tax collectible at source, where you are approximately taxing close to 20%, okay, on all credit card transactions anywhere in the world which take place. Now imagine this TCS that they have created. This devalues your rupee by 20% the moment you spend it abroad. So suppose you are using a credit card and you are using a credit card to spend 100 rupees abroad. You are applying a 20% tax on this. So you're actually ending up spending 120 rupees when you want to spend a sum of 100. So it has devalued your rupee by 20% the moment you're spending it on a credit card anywhere in the world. Can you imagine the galactic stupidity of such a move? But this is how, you see, when economics is left to historians and grand historians and bureaucrats and IAS walas and I don't know what you people study in the UPSC, these are the kind of decisions that come out of these kind of confused, befuddled, stupid minds. They create this kind of a mess. Now today, this 2000, this is one aspect of, this is just one of the aspects of, you see the business of how we have succeeded in scoring a self goal, creating a depreciation of our own currency, even when it is not necessary. On the other hand, you have newspapers clamoring, oh, you see the dollar is now 82 rupees to a rupee, it is 83 rupees to a rupee and so on. And on the other hand, we make moves like this, which succeed in making the dollar close to about 100 rupees to the Indian rupee without any sort of other comparative problem, without any inflation eating away at our currency, without anything else. This is the kind of self goal that we have scored. And in this liberalized remittance regime, which is current, we are actually allowed to take close to $250,000, that is approximately 2 crore rupees, all right, in foreign exchange every year through whichever media, debit card, credit card, currency, whatever you want. And that is the reason why the Indian economy is booming, because you are allowing Indian trade to take place, you are allowing Indian people to take their currency abroad. Similarly, you are allowing foreign currencies to come here and trade in these currencies. That is the reason why there are a lot of dollars which are seeking investment over here, since India is a growing economy. People want to invest over here. And you know, you score self goals like these tax at source, tax collected at source, TCS, and you score another self goal with demonetization. You want to demonetize the 2000 rupee note, simply start collecting the 2000 rupee note. Ask the banks to collect the 2000 rupee note and then give a 5-year mandate that whatever 2000 rupee note was printed in 2019 last or so on, it will not be valid beyond 2024, and let people slowly come and put in their 2000 rupees into the banks in 2024. By 2024 December or May or whichever it is that you want to do this business, so that you see you are safe for your elections and nobody else has money to spend for your elections, etc. So you put in that sort of a mandate in 2019 itself and let people do what they have to do. Give them the full freedom. On the one hand, you say, oh, we want to demonetize this money. On the other hand, you say that the RBI will accept this as legal tender. So there are so many contradictory messages that are happening that you see, it's very difficult for us to, as common citizens and even economists, to understand what this convoluted logic of doing these kind of stupid exercises is. It becomes very difficult for us to explain to even ourselves. Amongst economists, it's very hard to explain what is it that these guys are trying to achieve by doing this kind of nonsense. Especially when their earlier experiment of demonetizing 500 rupees and 1000 rupees has been a complete failure. And it is evidenced by the fact that you had less than 18 lakh crores in circulating in open currency in M1 at that time. M1 is what we know as money one, which is which is cash as well as the currency held with banks and so on. And today you have double the amount, so more than 36 lakh crores of cash is circulating in the market, out of which 10% is in 2000 rupee notes, which can be recalled. And you have not been printing 2000 rupees since notes since 2019. So even if you hold it as a 5-year expiry or something, it's 2024, which should be very easily be able to do. And it's very difficult to understand what the objective of this is. And now this is happening in an economy where the tax rates are some of the highest in the world. So if you did not know, the Indian tax rates are close to 40% for income tax. And in the tall order GST, you pay an average of between 18 to 28% as GST. So you're paying 20+% as GST on every single rupee that you consume. Over and above that, they are burdening the people with this 20% tax collected at source if you spend money on your credit card anywhere abroad. And all this is being done because you see there are a lot of people who are based out of Dubai or wherever whose credit cards are being used unofficially or officially, they say, by so many bookies and hawala agents and so many other people to kind of trade in rupees or whatever to help people next door or something. So for 5 people or 500 people doing something, some hanky panky, you are going to punish 5 crore, 5.5 crore taxpayers. Is that the method by which you go about doing things? I mean, what mode of sensibility or what argument of sensibility can this really help? So my advice to anybody of you who is studying this, or any of you who is who perhaps can communicate this further, do not, never do these things. Never demonetize. Never. All right. Never tax more than 21%, whether it is credit card, debit card, GST, income tax, whatever, whether it is direct tax, indirect tax, do not do above 21%. You know why? Because research has evidenced that the moment the tax threshold rises above 21%, there is incentive in people to not pay tax. The reason why people don't pay tax is not because people don't want to pay tax. The reason why people don't pay tax is because there is no incentive to pay a very high rate of tax. And are you aware of what exactly happened in the 1970s? In the 1970s, the governments then, Indira Gandhi and Morarji Desai, they placed the tax rate at 97%. So your income tax was 97%, which meant that if you earned 100 rupees or something, you paid 97% income tax, 3% wealth tax, and then you went for lunch to the Gurdwara. That was another form of demonetization which never worked. So there is incentive for people to pay tax if your tax rates are rational, they are reasonable, they are low, and they are easy to pay. So suppose your tax rates of GST are 5% and anybody has a business turnover of, let us say, 100,000 rupees, he will say, yeah, for 5,000 rupees, why do I have to take the stress of the taxman? I would rather pay my 5% GST, I would pay my 10% or 15% income tax. Total, I end up paying 21% income tax. I am done. I want to be in peace. I don't want any stress with the government. Please take my tax. Everybody is happy. That is how it should be. But the fiscal profligacy, the monetary profligacy of governments continuously push them into these holes of having such very high rates of taxes. So income tax in India, for instance, is close to 40% at the peak slab, and GST is above 22% at any point in time because it's an average between 18 and 28%. That is where the maximum GST is really getting collected. This 1.5 lakh crore what that you see every month that is getting collected in GST, or 2 lakh crore odd, the maximum revenues are coming from those slabs. So you don't have an average GST which is a single digit. Meanwhile, all the growth economies of the world, whether it's Singapore, you see, whether it's US, whichever other growth economies, open market growth economies of the world, all have single digit rates of GST. And then you will have some sort of inflation. Some part of that inflation is imported, of course, because if crude prices rise, steel prices rise, other prices rise in the world, general price increase will be experienced across a sector of commodities. When that happens, you have no choice but to raise your prices. And when you raise your prices, they won't have no choice but to raise your interest rates. So they increase the cost of money so that there is lesser and lesser money chasing the number of goods that are available, goods and services that are available. And one of the reasons, one of the ways in which you can have lesser and lesser money chasing those number of goods available is by demonetization. So you do demonetization and you take away 10% of the currency in the market, and then you expect that it will have a maybe 1% impact on inflation or some such thing, and it will drop inflation by that degree. That is one of the reasons behind this move. But I do not think that that is a fair way to deal with the economy. That is a wrong way to deal with the economy. One should not do these kind of moves. Demonetization is a mistake. They should not have. They wanted to withdraw the 2000 rupee note. They could have very easily replaced it with a 1000 rupee note. They could have replaced it with a 400 rupee note. They could have replaced it. You see, 4 fives are 2000. So you put in 5 400 rupee notes and it brings about that money. They brought in a 200 rupee note. So similarly, they could have done that, but they didn't do that. They instead shot themselves in the leg one more time by doing this demonetization exercise, which is a pointless, fruitless exercise. It serves no purpose. Now they will have these people again queuing up at banks. You will have the chaos again that was there earlier, which was to follow, and it helps really nobody. Thank you very much.